Too bad Retro couldn't come today. What happened?
I don't know. He was streaming earlier, and I was like, oh, what's he playing? He's playing the Saboteur, so it's like he could have made it. I don't care what he
Oh,
says. It's like, oh, it's too late. I gotta go to bed. That's a lie. I don't believe that.
what game was he playing?
The things called like the Saboteur.
Saboteur?
Yeah, something like that. It's an
I
old
never heard of
game.
it.
He posted a clip on Twitter that was the guy saying, "In for a penny, in for a fucking pound," and he got really excited for that line.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out after this.
Have you been playing anything else other than Death's Door, or?
Well, I played Cuphead DLC came out.
Yeah, I played that as well, and I so I did the horse, the parry challenge, whatever.
Yes.
And that one was actually kind of fun, and I had no problem with it, and I beat it. I do the Elf Mountain boss, and I can't get past it. I get to the
You mean
third phase, and I'm always at 1 HP when I get there.
are you talking about Gnome Way Out?
Yeah.
So I found the secret. So it's funny because once you realize how to beat the levels, the secret to that last phase is when he throws the bones out, you should follow the bone so you can parry the skull so that it brings them all back. You know how he throws
Ah.
like chicken legs
Yeah.
out, right? So they go away. But if he throws in a bone, it turns pink and then you can parry him. So if
Okay.
as long as you should jump right behind the bone and then parry it right away and then you get all the platforms back. That's like the hardest part of that level.
Yeah, because the other two phases, I think the second phase is way easier. Like the first phase, it's like the only challenge with that first phase is it's kind of dodging the ducks and another thing that goes on sometimes because you can't really react to it in time if you're trying to jump over something or whatever. So I always get caught in that, but that's whatever. But it's the second phase is so easy. It's like, all right, just kind of keep going between the two. It's like, okay, why is this like the super easiest phase? And then you go inside the guy. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of annoying.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that it's funny playing the new levels. It's like they changed the philosophy of the game. Like the in the original boss, it's like you're fighting the boss, right? And the boss is trying to attack you. But in this, it's like you need to be more concerned about the level. The level's trying to murder you. So it's like you have to watch out for all the hazards that get introduced, right? Instead of like worrying about attacks. So
Yeah, like I think so. This DLC took like 5 years to make, and everyone's
yeah,
like, "Oh, why would it take that long? Come on!" I literally understand why it took them that long because they had to animate everything, like just the attacks aside, like they had to animate the stage, the hazards, and all that. So it really looked like it took them way more. It was more than just a simple dump in like these same old animations on a new like thing. It was like, oh no, we had to redraw all like hand draw more stuff than what was in the game before.
yeah, and it's crazy. Like I get distracted some of the times when I'm playing because the attention to detail is absurd. So like I'm looking at things and I'm trying to watch it, but like you're also getting things thrown at you the whole time, so you can't really watch all the details. But it's really crazy. Like even the beginning of that Gnome Way Out, like the intro of that, it's crazy how like how many frames of animation happen when you first start. Like all the gnomes are like watching and they're like trying to dig. They're trying to dig for gold, and he turns into a giant, and then all of a sudden like they're all getting thrown into the background, but then they become part of the audience of the thing. It's really very impressive. I like want to just watch someone play through it after I finish it,
Yeah,
just to like actually get all the details of the animations.
it's so much like detail they didn't need to do. It's like, oh, they could have just easily just put out just like, okay, just focus on the foreground and a little bit of the background and leave it at that. But it's like, oh no, we gotta do like foreground, midground, background kind of stuff. It's insane. Like especially when he like
Yeah,
pulls out his like mouth to open to eat. It's like it's insane just how much like they had to animate him just doing this. It's like, jeez, you could have
right.
just thrown him like doing like a sucking motion instead.
Yeah, and like it's crazy like thinking about how much they thought through it because like even when he rips off his beard, at first I was like, why is he ripping off his beard? And then I realized it's because the beard is the grass that you're walking on. So he could detach from the mountain. He rips off his beard, and I was like, oh, like that's really clever. But like, you don't notice it because you're like, fuck, I need to beat this level. So it's pretty sweet.
I didn't notice that either. I just saw him like rip
Yeah.
out his beard and I was like, okay, he's angry. That's why he did it. I didn't know it was like
No.
he has to move to do that. That's
Yeah, he's attached to the ground, so he's like, I gotta rip the beard off. It's fucking amazing.
I also like the that Chalice plays completely different from Mugman and Cuphead.
Yeah, I'm
Like that
still trying to get
parry,
used to
like
it.
dash, like that dash parry. It took me a while for me to like learn that because it's like I'm so used to the jump being the parry, but it's like no, for her you have to like dash for it. It's like, damn, that's so
Yeah.
different, and I like it more than the jump in some cases.
Well, that's interesting because it's like it feels like certain levels are built for that mechanic, right? Like in I don't remember what the first level is. It's like the speakeasy level. Like it's really hard to beat that with Cuphead or Mugman because the whole level is like lateral movement, right? So like you know which level I'm talking about, right? With it
The
starts
two
off with like
frogs.
a spider.
Oh.
No, the new level. There's a spider
Oh, I
that
didn't make
fights
it
you.
that far. I'm stuck at the at the gnome. That's all I've been
Oh, well,
playing.
it's one of the first levels you can play. So
Oh, okay.
you get two levels, right? So one of the first levels is it's a spider that fights you, and then there's like a bee, and it's like I guess they're like supposed to be like bootleggers or whatever. But there's three levels to the stage, and doing the regular like double jump parry is extremely difficult. But it's really easy with Chalice to just um like dash into it. So it's interesting to see like certain levels seem to be built for that. Like, even like the challenge stages. Did you beat the first one? I don't really remember what they were, but there's like a bunch of things above and they jump down.
Yeah. Yeah, that
It's
was
like
the first
way
one you
easier to do
fight.
that with what's that?
Oh, that was the first one you do before the horse. And that
Right.
one was like I thought it was kind of easy. It was just really just understanding that I keep I wasn't expecting them to throw normal bottles that you couldn't parry, so it's like okay, so like I kept running into those. But after that it's like okay, I can do this and I beat that. The horse was only tricky because you really had to really find a very narrow window that you could attack his main and get out before he does an attack, and then and then dodge the next attack as well. So there's some stuff I had to like pay attention to that I was kind of using.
Yeah, I didn't. So I thought I fucked it up. I don't know what happened, and maybe I'll get another chance to play it. But like, I played the first challenge, which it's funny because I don't know if you noticed it, but like what's happening is they jump down, and then once you parry them, they go back up. So the reason you can't parry them again is because you like
Yeah,
broke the thing, right? So then they keep coming down, and you have to avoid them. But then they let you go to the next stage, and I was like, I can't beat this fucking horse thing. So I just quit. But then the ladder disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck? So I don't know if I can go back in or not, or I have to like find a different entrance.
that's true because I was able to like stop doing it for a bit because after the bottles, I then took a break and went back to the gnome. Then it's like okay, couldn't beat the gnome. Went back to the challenge and did it. So it's like I don't know. I don't know. That didn't happen to me. At least I don't. Unless I did the challenges back to back and then that was it. I can't remember if I did it all in one go or not. Actually,
Well, here's another funny thing. I don't know. Have you seen any bugs yet? Like, did any glitches happen for you?
uh, I want to say there was, but I can't remember.
I had like I had a really major glitch happen where a boss when I beat there's like this wizard boss and I beat the first phase, and he just got stuck in his idle animation. So, like for the next two phases, he didn't do anything but just move in idle animation, and I could just beat him. And I looked it up on the internet, and someone else had the same problem, but it got stuck in the second phase, and they never even saw the first phase. And I only know it was the second phase because I saw like a wiki that showed all the phases. So it's
Okay.
completely fucked. So I don't know if I might have had another bug where the ladder disappeared and I just can't get to the challenge stages. So we'll see. But I've only beaten technically 3 bosses, but one of them it was just a complete glitch. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
I saw the final 2 bosses of the DLC, and those I can't remember which one I thought was harder. Because I think the secret boss that they have looks pretty rough. But the other little bit about the animation to detail that I was gonna say way earlier, if you're doing co-op and one person is gonna be Chalice, they have an animation where one of the characters looks like upset that the other person's becoming Chalice, like they look pissed off, and then Chalice shows up. Then they're like, okay, cool. And then they just go on. It's like that. I do like that kind of detail as well because I think it was between the 2 players, so it's like random which one will get it. So I guess they animate like if both of you equip that cookie as a charm, it will. I guess
so only one person can be here at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It reminds me in Street Fighter 4, if two people are playing as Cody, they have one knife, and if one person picks up the knife, the other Cody looks depressed about it, like, oh my god, he picked up or whatever. And it's like that I never paid attention to. I saw like a Tumblr post like showing the frame of it. I was like, oh, that's that's a nice detail.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's funny. Can you play online, or are you playing local co-op with someone?
It's only local. There's no online for Cuphead.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So it's like you can both pick the cookie charm, and then it only one of you gets to be her.
Yeah, I mean that's at least how I took it because the way that the tweet like talked about it is like, oh, if 2 people want to be Chalice, it shows this or something. So it's I do think only one person can be Chalice, at least.
So you didn't play actually local. You didn't play the co-op yet.
No, this was a video I saw someone post because they were like, because it was showing like the how detailed the animation is. Like, oh, look what they animated. Because it's kind of a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, it's cool. Maybe we could try to play it on Steam Play Together. Have you ever played Steam Play Together?
No, but I don't think it's supported on Mac. The Cuphead.
I thought.
I'll have to look, but I don't.
You don't have to have the game though, right? It just streams to you.
You know what? Once the Stream Deck comes, once the Steam Deck comes, we'll try then.
When are you supposed to get your Steam Deck? Didn't it come out already?
They have you you sign up for a wait list. Oh, Retro's in chat. He's sitting there. And he can't even show up. He can show up to spam the Teddy emote, but he can't show up to the phone call. Wow.
Retro, what are you doing, man? You're supposed to be playing with us. Speaking of which, I mean, this is pertinent now. Someone in the Discord, I don't know who it was like, when are you guys gonna do a watch of this shitty Persona?
Oh yeah, Perez. He has been campaigning for me to watch Persona 4 Golden the anime because he said you should watch that before you play the game. But I told him I'm doing this the Atlas way. They put the game out first, then they did the anime. So clearly it's the order of release, not the order of whatever the fuck that is. So I'm just gonna.
Is the anime different content or is it just the same story?
I thought it was the same because that's how the anime was for Persona 3 and Persona 4. I mean, for the most part, they do take some liberties. Like for the Persona 4 anime, they have a filler episode where he does like pretty much the S-Link stuff. So like the Fortune S-Link, whatever the fuck, that's a filler episode. But Persona 3, that's a whole movie, and they actually add more to the story than before. And it was actually a good movie. Golden, I think, is just they added other scenes that kind of give you more context as to the story with Marie in Golden, from what I understand.
So, okay, now I'm really fucking confused. There's a Persona 4 anime, and there's a Persona 4 Golden anime, and they're different?
Yeah. Well, it's like the games, because Persona 4 Golden adds a whole other story to the game that wasn't in vanilla with Marie. For example, like so she's a whole new edition, has a whole new story, and that's probably what they added in the Golden anime. Is mostly speedruns Golden content. Okay, so yeah, so okay. The Golden anime only focuses on the Golden story. It doesn't focus on the vanilla story of Persona 4. So the stuff with like
All right. Well,
Adachi and the murders, that's not relevant to what the Golden anime is.
okay, so that means it's shorter than the regular Persona 4 cartoon.
Yeah, it is
Okay,
it is
that's fair.
shorter.
How many episodes is it?
I think it was like 13 or 8 to 13.
12 episodes. Retro says. I'll
Okay.
fucking watch it, but I'm not going to be respectful at all. I'm going to trash it the whole time. But I'm very down to do it. We just got to figure out a time and day to do it.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, the Persona 3 movie is actually way better. It's the only thing is that it's like 3 movies, but it has good animation and it's a better story. But I am biased. I do love Persona 3 a lot more than 4. It has
Yeah.
no fucking the only anime shit it gets into is like it has a beach scene in it, and that's it. But it's like whatever.
I mean, it's all anime shit, isn't
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
it? Yeah, I'll watch it. I forgot who that was. Parrish. It
Yeah.
was like sent like the whole goddamn. They have like a Google Drive with the whole thing in it.
Yeah.
Seems highly illegal.
I only things like I think you could do it on Discord, but I probably wouldn't stream it because I don't want my channel to be like striked with it.
Hmm.
Because I remember like one time I had a Persona 4 song go like from the anime play. It was like Key Plus Words, great song. It played and then it got my video blocked. I'm like, oh cool, like worldwide. It's a worldwide block. I'm like, oh sweet, no one can watch this video.
So we could just do it on Discord. Can you
I
like
think so.
share? You could share a video on Discord. And we just have everyone join that.
Yeah, I think we can. I think that's the thing. I haven't really done anything with it.
All right. Well, I'm down to watch a shitty anime. Just tell me when we're in.
All right, and I think with that we might as well just get right into Game Club. We've jibber jabbered enough on the pre-stream.
Oh wait, I played more.
Oh shit!
Fucking. I played more Cuphead than I played Death's Door. Actually, that's not true. I actually played since we were supposed to start at 6, but then we changed to 7. I actually got way further in Death's Door in the past hour than I was before. Because I was like at the very end.
It's
Like,
it's funny. I
how
had
far
this.
did you get?
So I probably have this something similar. With you because I haven't played it a lot this past 2 weeks. I was playing Guilty Gear. I was playing Death Stranding, and then I was playing Cuphead as well, and then I was playing something else as well. I replayed Indivisible as well. I played DNF Duel. I replayed Metal Gear Solid 2. Started replaying MGS3. Played Metal Gear Rising, and now I'm going through Metal Gear Solid 4 because I finally found a place to put my PS3 at the on my TV setup. I finally found a area to have it sit. So I was like, oh sweet, I could finally play PS3 games again.
Yo, this sounds like you've been avoiding Death's Door a little bit.
I thought that today, so today I went back to it. I did play Death's Door like a few days ago as well, and I was like, okay, I made it far enough. Okay, cool. And then I put it off again because I was more I had such a strong urge to play Guilty Gear because I just really loved playing as Baiken. It's like, oh sweet, I just love her combos. So I was like, oh, let's do that. But I played it today, and I think I'm right at the end as well. I think I just have to go back to the office, and then like that starts the final boss.
What was the last thing you fought?
I fought the Great Crow.
Okay, yeah, same. I just did that like 5 minutes before 7. Like I just got to the part where they're like, "Oh, go kill your boss" or whatever.
Yeah. So
Um,
I did record. I do have a recording of my fight with him and with Betty. I'm gonna put that in the recording once I upload this to YouTube, so it won't be on the stream unfortunately. But it's funny when I first played Death's Door the first time. I hated the Betty fight. It's like this fight is so hard because the speed of the roll is so fast when it gets into the roll. Like it's so instantaneous that it's like, oh fuck, like I can't dodge it in time. This time around, I finally like figured how to deal with it. So okay, cool. Just as soon as I see him do a hop, it's like, okay, just back up and wait until it is the roll, then like roll away from it pretty much, and just wait for 3 times, then to poke it again. But the whole time I just kept bum rushing the Yeti the first time, so it was like a way harder fight. Though I feel there was way more to that fight than what I thought. It's like because I did one like snowball projectile at me. It's like I could have sworn I did more than one at some point. So I don't know if I was just too good. Maybe
that snowball thing made no sense. It was like it did. I don't see any world where that could hit you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, what if this is a point? It's like, you might as well just keep doing the roll. That's the only way she ever hit me, really.
Yeah, like the roll is such a good move, but it was also rougher. I don't know, like it really. I just played this like this fight was way easier than what I remembered when I first played it, and it's like I can't tell if it was like maybe I got better at it or what, because I played. So even leading up to that fight, when I was doing all this other stuff, it was like harder. Like there were all these waves of enemies that they threw, where it's like, okay, it's a little bit uh tough or whatever, but it's not. But that fight was just way too easy in comparison than what I remember. Maybe I got good, as Retro said, which could be very true.
I have a different perspective, and I've completely turned on this game. You're fucking Just Gamer John is trashing you again, saying Theo's good at the game.
Theo good?
But like,
oh,
no! I think I'm kind of fuck this game. It's like the bosses in particular are really frustrating simply for the fact that it's just like, and even like some of the bigger enemies, it's like the whole game is like they just have a very specific script, and it's like dodge around until the point where you can hurt them, and it's like very tedious and repetitive to me. Like especially like Betty, right? When you fight Betty, it's like she tries to slam you a couple times, she rolls 3 times, then you can hit her.
Yeah, no, like, I agree. I think I might. I still like this game, but I am a little bit sour about it as well, because like the frog boss, I like that boss fight a lot, because it's at least because it offered another layer to the fight where it's like, okay, he's gonna like wipe out the floor and all that. Though I do wish it could be a little bit more complex. It could have been, but it's still like a solid fight. And the game doesn't really get back to that level after that. I think the only time it does is the final boss fight is actually pretty good. The Great Crow was a good. I like that boss fight. I like the idea that every time you hit him, he releases more projectiles. So that fight was kind of rad. I like the style of it, but it did dawn on me with Betty. It's like, okay, yeah, this is like a script. And it's the same thing with like the little mini encounters with the other enemies. The only thing where I started to really fall in love with was just using the grappling hook to just fuck around, and just like, okay, I'm just gonna fuck around, just grapple there, grapple here, smack, grapple over there. So the momentum, I think, is just where I found the most fun doing, just focusing on that. Like, yeah, there's some stuff like that's like that, but I've also been like trying to see how fast, how last minute I can hit him before I have to dodge roll. So I've just been fucking around like that, and I think that's kind of where that game is for me right now. It's like a fuck around kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like I said, like it's everything just kind of has a script. It's like the movement and the basics and like the fighting is interesting enough, but it doesn't offer that much more than that, right? And it's like I said, it's very repetitive. It's like dodge until you can hit them, and that's pretty much all there is to the game, especially in the boss fights. Like I don't really remember the witch boss fight. I remember it being kind of interesting, but maybe it wasn't as interesting as it was, because as I continued playing the game, all of the flaws started to kind of show. And I kind of feel like they didn't do a good job of balancing the game. And that's kind of going back to what I said last time about like, it's kind of weird how like all of your progress stays even when you die. But I think what happened is they didn't balance the game very well. So they were like, fuck it. Let's just make it so you have the progress, because it would be super frustrating to like die at certain points and have to backtrack. I feel like I wouldn't even want to play again because I don't
Well,
even feel an incentive to get better at the game. You know what I mean?
I get it, but what's funny, I had kind of like the opposite because there was a part I kept dying and I would go back to the door and have to like walk through like the same halls again with all the enemies like respawned, and that was just like that I couldn't I was losing my mind with. It's like okay, I have to do the same enemies again. This
But you
sucks.
can just
Like
run past them though.
I
Once you
can,
open
but it's
the
like,
doors and
but there
stuff,
was one time I tried to run past them, and the game glitched where it lured all the enemy to the edge. Where like you go into this area, they remove the bridge, so you can't go back. The enemy is locked at the other end of that bridge, whatever. So he's just spamming grenades,
yes.
regardless, and it's like he shouldn't be there because he's off camera. But it's like it's the game still remembers him, so it's like yeah, he's just throwing grenades. It's like okay, so I have to fight them all the time.
Which is another thing that really bothered me because something that I thought was really fun, and it for the most part this stays in place, right? The friendly fire thing where hazards hurt you the same as enemies, which I think is great, and like explosives and things like that. But there's that one enemy that has the hammer or whatever, and it throws bombs at you, and it doesn't hurt enemies. It doesn't hurt itself, and I feel like they needed to give it another attack. But if that attack did friendly fire, it would make the game way too easy. Like those enemies wouldn't even be a factor because all they do is spam bombs at you, and if it hurt other enemies, it would be murdering everyone else. So
Yeah.
like I've that really bothered me because it's like that was a rule. It's like they violated a rule that they've established, right? Because they made an exception because it's like, oh,
Well,
this will kind of ruin the game.
I guess the idea is that he's throwing like a physical grenade that explodes, while the other hazards that they've been throwing at you is like projectiles that are like generated by magic or whatever. So I think that's the only exception. I would say it's like in Super Smash Brothers, like when you have Ness and you do that down B, that's like that bubble or whatever that absorbs projectiles. It takes like Samus's beam cannon, but it doesn't take missiles. It doesn't absorb Snake's grenade. It doesn't absorb those kind of things, but it can absorb like lasers, pretty much. That's how I took
Yeah,
it.
but think about I'm thinking about the the plants that you hit them and they shoot bombs out.
Yeah, but okay. Oh,
You know
okay.
what
That
I'm
I
saying?
understand. Okay. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
you.
and then this other thing throws bombs, but it doesn't hurt anyone. But it's like because it throws them so frequently, it would literally kill everything. So
Yeah.
that's they like had to make they couldn't make it be friendly fire. But like every other hazard hits everyone. It's kind of a nitpick, but it also like it betrays your trust. Like comparing this to Cuphead, it 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 makes a big difference because it breaks its own rules. You know what I'm saying? Like you think this is how the game operates, and then it's like no, there's an exception here for some reason. And it's
Yeah,
not really
okay.
like you know what I mean. It like makes me feel like okay, I can't trust this game's rules because it violates something that I felt was a rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it. I get what you're saying. Though, like this might not be like on a grander scale. Like a lot of games, because I do know a lot. I do like know some games that just don't follow their own rules that they
Yeah,
introduce, or they just drop them all together. Which is
right.
like a small pet peeve with Persona 5, which we have to talk about Persona obviously, but uh they introduce this mechanic where it's like the enemy can hold one of your party members hostage, so you have to like either negotiate with them or another like player will have to like snipe them or whatever. And it's like this is a cool rule, but they never really they just kind of drop it. They never do anything with it after. It's like okay, so what was the point of this? Like
Like
why teach
from
us
boss
that?
fight.
Yeah, like well, it's not even in a boss fights. It's in like a normal encounter because it could happen. Because if they land a critical on your party member, they have a chance of doing that. But it's like they don't always do it. And it's like why have it in the game if it's like so rare? It's such a rare thing. Even on hard, it's like they barely do it. So much
Do you
Ichiro
have Teddy? Do you have a Teddy in your apartment in your house, Theo?
No, I technically at one point for like a second I did, but I threw it out because it was so I got Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I was like, hell yeah, this is a fighting game, why not? And they had a day one edition where it came with a Teddy plush, and it was this inflatable like Teddy thing, which it's not a plush, it's a fucking inflatable Teddy, and
Yeah,
it
I was gonna
smelled
say,
and it smelled awful. It smelled like
what
shit.
did
I'm
it
like,
smell
I'm just
like?
gonna throw it out. Fuck it, and
What did it
I
smell
don't
like?
miss it.
What did it smell like?
It just smelled awful. I just don't. I can't really remember what it was. I just remember it was so smelly. I hated it. It was probably just like very like new plastic or whatever the fuck. And it's like, yeah, no, bye.
But yeah, it sounds like someone, because if it was advertised as a plush, it sounds like some weirdo fucking stole your plush and replaced it with their Teddy sex doll.
Oh my god,
That's why it feels so bad.
that's I know what you're doing with the inflatable.
Just Gamer John's got the right idea.
Oh my god. Teddy body pillow
uh, um, but so this negotiation thing, Retro says the negotiation thing happened literally once to me on the very last random fight. Like, it sounds like it's just not a thing that happens. Like, why would they even put it in?
Yeah, like when I first played Persona 5, it happened in like the first dungeon. I'm like, oh wow, okay. I played Royal, it never happened, and then I got to the very end and it happened. I was like, I forgot this was a thing. Holy shit! And it's like, who fucking cares? Because like the game gives you one for free, but it's like you're dependent on the online like connection for it to generate a online group to do it. But it's like, well, this is a tutorial. I'll just fucking use it. Like, I don't need to learn anything else. I'll just fucking spam the AI because why bother?
Yeah, yeah. So going back to Death's Door, something I feel about the game is like I never feel like when I die that it was like my lack of skill. It's always just a lack of patience, based on what I was saying before. Like, everything is about dodging until you get to the point where you're allowed to attack it. And it's like you always want to get 3 hits in, but if you really wanted to, you just be conservative and do 2 hits, and you could just play the whole game without getting hit. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's any opportunity to be creative in the way you approach enemies. It's like this is the time you can hit them.
I
And you
I've
just do
been
it.
I've been dying mostly to I don't know really why this happens. I don't know if it's me or the game, but it would be like I would aim for for an enemy, and then somehow like I would just aim like the complete other direction, and then it's like, oh, okay, so like I rolled into an enemy with the idea of I'm gonna do a rolling attack, and then like I roll towards the enemy, but I'm like off by like a pixel, or I
Yeah.
get there, and then suddenly turn a different direction. It's like I can't tell if it's like me or the controller or what. It's like one of those things where it's like you don't want to say it's the game because it sounds like a meme excuse to say like, oh, the game killed me or whatever. But it's like I don't know why this keeps happening. It feels like it shouldn't be happening, but it's maybe it's me, maybe it's the game. I don't know, but it's like that kept happening so much to me. It's like I knew I could have cleared this wave easily, but it's like no, you just happened to roll the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not like a big fan of how much ground the roll covers. It feels like it's like kind of like janky, like too rigid or something almost. Like when you roll, it's like you move at like such a hard angle, and you don't really have control over it. I don't remember what part of the game it's in, but like there's a point where they kind of put you on a small space, so you can't really roll, but you can. But it's like this such a like like a contrived challenge of like, yeah, we know the roll is gonna send you off a cliff, so you kind of can't do it. Do you know what part I'm talking about? It's like towards the end.
I was it in an icy place or was it just like
No, but right before that, like when you're in that place where you're seeing all the statues of the old lords of the doors or
oh,
whatever's up
okay.
there.
Yeah.
It's on that temple outside of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was like everything about this game is like you just need to be patient. Like it's not about like having great reflexes or anything. I'm like I don't know. To me, it's tedious and boring. Like it started to get lazy at the end too. Like all the other bosses, right? It's like um, you fight the witch, and there's this whole thing of like her son is like, you got to kill my mom, I guess, because like she's gone nuts. She turned me into a pothead. And then you go to the forest.
Sorry,
You go to the forest, and everyone's like, you have to kill the king because he's really just an oppressive ruler, right? And then all of a sudden, the Yeti boss, I didn't even know there was a Yeti, and all of a sudden you're at the top, and it's like, yo, that guy that makes songs is like, kill this Yeti, I guess. I'm like, what?
It's
Like, where did she even come from?
okay. What's kind of funny? I think somewhere in the Stranded Sailor, there's a character that talks about like how he had a girlfriend or whatever, and it became the Yeti. But they
Yeah.
don't. It's the only. I agree that it just seemed that they just threw that there, just like, oh, whatever. Like there's no build up, and it also makes no sense to me that they give you that you go through that cemetery of the lords. You go through that to get to the Yeti.
Mhm.
And it's like thematically, it doesn't make sense. Why the
Makes
fuck would
zero
you?
sense.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this should be the other way around. You beat the Yeti, then you go through here, then you fight the Great Crow, then you fight the Lord. But it's like this seems so like because you get
Back on.
yeah, because you get to that part, you're like, okay, well, these are cool about the lords and all that, and then you get to the Yeti, then you get to the end, or not the end, but you get to you talk to Death, and at that
Well, no,
point, you kind of
you skip the part that makes it make even less sense because you go to that camp and they're like, "Oh, you're the," which this really bothered me because it's like you're the prophecy
that's
pro,
right.
and they're like, "You're gonna free Death and whatever," and then you fight a Yeti for no reason. It's like
Yeah.
what? At least
Okay.
put that there after you beat the Yeti.
Yeah. Okay. But that part, it makes sense if you just group it with the Cemetery of the Lords. Like
Exactly.
that makes
Yes.
sense. But it's really the Yeti just throws a wrench into that. Like if the Yeti should have came first, then that,
Right.
then the Lords, then you fight the Great Crow, whatever. Because
Yeah.
like when Death is talking to you about this whole thing about the Lords and the deal he made, it's like it would have made more of an impact if you remembered what the Lords you've seen. Because it's like it's actually more like when I was reading the dialogue, it was actually way more interesting to really think about what deal Death had and the relationship Death had with like that part was kind of like cool and like impactful, but it's like but then you're like, wait, no, I fought the Yeti before, and the Yeti had a boyfriend. Okay, cool. Like,
Yeah, they really fucked up the sequence. It really should have been to get to the cemetery or whatever, the temple with the Lords of Doors. The Yeti should have been in the way,
yeah,
and then you should have. Yeah, it made no sense. It's like I don't even understand what's going on, and like I didn't even really realize. Yeah, it seemed to come out of nowhere. I was like, what is this Yeti? And I did remember that the dude, the drunk guy, was like, oh, my girlfriend Beth or whatever. What's her name? Betty.
Betty.
Betty the Yeti is on the fucking whatever. But it's just like it's so far removed. It's like you talk to that guy, then you go to this temple
And that's
that
a
gives
kid.
all this exposition, and then you fight her, and it makes no sense.
And the other thing is that guy is completely missable. Like you could really get to
Yeah.
to Betty without even talking to him, and it's even more like insane. And then when you get to the Yeti and you beat her, like the guy doesn't show up at the top. I
Yeah.
don't think so. It's like why?
No, just the gravedigger comes and like says all this shit, and it's like, what are you even talking about? And it's actually very telling because if you look in the inventory when you read all the things, it's like there's a little blurb about the grandma or the witch. There's a little blurb about the frog king, and then the one for Betty is like this long because they're like, I guess we have to flesh her out and explain what just happened. And it's like there's nothing tells you about it.
The only thing I could think of, and you could say it's like an excuse, I get, with this, but it could also just be a fucking gag, where it's like, yeah, this person has no dialogue, there's no presence, put it all in an item inventory. Like, I could definitely see it being.
You're being too nice.
Yeah, that's why I said like you could see it as an excuse. Sure, like I'm not gonna debate that. But it's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the developer came out and said, "Yeah, this was a joke." It's like, yeah, I could totally believe that. But it's like, it's still whatever. It's a joke at the expense of an excuse, I guess. It's like, yeah, it's an excuse,
Yeah.
but it's a joke. It plays on both levels.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. It's just I feel like they probably had a lot more they wanted to do with it, but like they just ran out of time and money. It makes sense, and like I don't want to be too hard on them for it, but it's like they
I
really should have thought that out a little bit more. Just like all they had to do was move the environments around, right? Like make
yeah.
that boss fight before you go into the what do you call it, the temple or whatever.
Yeah, because I think the only thing I could see them having an issue with that is since Betty's on top of a mountain, like why would they put a cemetery like on a higher place? Like geographically, I could see that being an issue where it's like, well, yeah, because naturally you want to go up and that you want me to go up, but it's like they could have done, as we've said, like they could have done a little bit more with just rearranging some stuff around or just thinking about it because
Yeah,
like
it's a world of magical doors. Like they could just done anything they fucking want.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I did enjoy Death though. Death was funny, and like the
Yeah,
whole like explanation of what happened was kind of cool.
I that's like that's why I think like that part is like the story when I was playing it this time around. I think the beginning does a good job like giving you like little breadcrumbs of like what's going on here. But I was playing, I'm like I I think when I first played it, I was much more enthralled by what's going on. And I was like, oh wow, what's this? Playing it this time around, it's like wow, the beginning is like it's very like once you get past like the first encounter with the Lord, it's like it just slows down to a snail's pace where you just kind of forget what you're even doing. Like why like you're doing all this stuff and then when you go to the Great Court, like oh yeah, this is why. And then you get all
Yeah.
this cool like exposition, which is like kind of rad, but it's like I just realized like that's like the only part where the story gets really good, and it's like yeah, the ending is kind of where everything comes together, and that's like the best part because I love the that he's saying like yeah, well, death is part of life and all this, but it's like this guy that's like that is more depressed about killing about taking these souls than the people who are there. It's like that's kind of nice. I like that like kind of it plays with that expectation where it's like you think death is like this guy that's like yeah, death is cool, whatever, but this guy's like yeah, I just didn't want to do this anymore, like everyone is depressed or whatever. It's interesting
Well,
about that.
I don't know if they actually. I don't pay attention to the story that much, so I have, but like, I like kind of knew what was going on, but I don't know if they talked about the existence of death as an entity in the game, because like that was unexpected to me that like there was actually like a Grim Reaper, and he was like, I just got depressed, so I just like let them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, well
Which,
well that's because like it's where when the game takes place, it's been so removed from death that death has become a myth. Where it's like,
right,
because like you're
okay,
talking to some Reapers, they're like, yeah, they say there's this guy called the Grim Reaper. I don't know if that's true. Like that's why like if you read some of the logbooks that's like scattered around, they talk about how they're questioning what's going on and things are getting redacted. Some crews are not coming back on their missions and all this stuff. So it does kind of give you that impression of like that it explains why like death is so random and you're just like oh why is no one talking about that. It's because it's been like eons since he's been around because I
yeah,
think it was one of the lords that like locked him into that door
right,
and then they just kept going to the point where like his soul was eroding into
right,
becoming a demon, which I liked because it explains also why like you have a frog as a king because he's lived so long he became that.
yeah,
The granny
right.
lived so long as she like I like that idea of it. There's all this stuff that's kind of cool that's there, but it's like it it's becoming a problem with games now. I feel where we have all this big storytell narrative games and all this stuff, and some games want to kind of do both, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like you if you want to have a story, you really have to like plan it out to a good
Yes,
balance with
this is what
it.
I say every time. Is that try just make a video game first. Like tack the story on at the end because like there are interesting concepts, but it's like if they try to like do all this stuff, it's gonna affect the gameplay. It's gonna
Well,
affect
that's
like
but that's what I'm saying
sequence of the
because
game.
like you could because in my opinion, I think like with that story, it seems like they came up with the gameplay, then they added the story on top of it, like tacked on, and that's kind of where it led. I think if you want to develop a game that has a story and you want to integrate that into the gameplay, you just have to like stage it out almost. Like you have to like store, you have to board it out or whatever. There has to be some kind of like organization you have to like look at. And I think at the same time, like these are probably small budget teams, and I think this is also this developer's first time they're actually using like a 3D model, because they were saying in the documentary that this was the first time that they wanted to make an indie game that looked like a AAA game, or like have something that's like kind of like that. So it's like
Yeah.
and it definitely just does look that way. That's probably why it's like really rough. Is probably because they either were stretching their budget very thin on what they were doing. So I think it's like it's really hard to really pinpoint necessarily exactly what they need to do, but it's still something that I think is a recurring thing where you have this ballooning game development and the budget is always getting screwed over. You don't really know where to put the money into. It's like, and that's why it's less is more. Just put more restrictions. Say like, hey, if you can't do this, maybe we need to like say we can't do this. Like, okay, this 3D thing's not working. We can only have this dimension or whatever. And that's kind of like you get more creative solutions to complex problems.
So you've watched behind the scenes stuff, so I would ask, like, I kind of don't think I think they probably really wanted to tell this grandiose story, and that's probably where it hurt. I think that's probably what hurt them, because it seems like it's a lot of story heavy stuff, and like including like even the secrets that they do is like it's heavily leaned on, because I think adventure games for the most part they want to have like an enthralling world, but like I think that hurt the fun factor of the game itself. So I'd be interested to see like actually how the development went, because I personally, it seems like to me like they wanted to really tell the story, but then like it like they're like, uh oh, we have to also make a game that makes sense in this story. But I would have to actually watch behind the scenes to know.
Yeah, I'll post that documentary I found on YouTube in the Game Club Discord, because it's interesting because it they did seem like very passionate to make this game. I do think it's just that they probably it was like a bigger. It's like you have bigger eyes and a small stomach, where it's like you have
Yeah,
this
yeah.
big idea, because I do think it's, as you said, this grandiose idea for a story, and it probably did get in the way of the gameplay, but I just think it's just that the idea that they wanted was too ambitious for the budget, because I don't know how much their budget was, and that's always the killer, because that's probably what MGS5 failed on. It was probably like a bigger idea than the budget could support or whatever. I mean, we'll never really know what happened, or as to why things get cut.
Of course, that's what happened in MGS5. Like, MGS5 was already split into two games, right? Like, they made that Ground Zero shit because they're like, uh oh, like we don't have enough time.
Well, it's funny because I think it's at one point I heard from someone somewhere, but they were saying like that originally there were going to be one game. Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain was going to be one game. It's just that I think Konami was like, you have to put something out. Just put something out. And they're like, okay, fine, I'll put Ground Zeroes out, and that's what they put out. Which is kind of silly, because the one thing I remember hearing a lot was that so Sony had a restriction on games. If they have to get a platinum trophy, you need to be long enough to get a platinum trophy in your game. And since Ground Zeroes is like short, it's like, yeah, no platinum for you. So it's like that's the one game that doesn't have a platinum.
Classic. Good old Kojima. Which, hold the fuck up. We didn't talk about this goddamn news report. This is the funniest thing. And I thought it was hilarious because it was on a Greek news outlet. I was like, Theo, your people are fucking up. They fucking put Kojima, the fucking president, the old prime minister of Japan got assassinated, which is the craziest fucking thing. I feel like the world didn't really, at least like in the U.S., like we're not reacting to that as much as it should be. Like some fucking guy made a homemade shotgun and murdered the former prime minister. But then this Greek news outlet showed pictures of Kojima in like goofy ass. I don't even know if it was real. What do you think that was real? Did that actually air?
I don't. Oh, well, I don't know. I probably have to ask my mom, because like she watches a lot of Greek news. Like she has a Greek news station on her iPad. But I think it was just a guy that just happened to look like him, because if you look at the image, it's not good resolution. He's wearing a hat, so it's like hiding a lot of identifiable features, and it's gonna sound whatever, but it did not originate from the Greek news. It came from 4chan.
Of course it
actually.
did. Yeah, of
So,
course. That's
but
always
yeah.
what happened.
But
But they ran
anyways,
it without even look like Kojima. Everyone fucking in the gaming world, Kojima. He was wearing like a Kirby hat in one of the pictures, wasn't he? Or some shit like that.
it
It was some goofy ass anime shit. And
no,
they're
it
like,
was
"Oh yeah,
like a Soviet hats or
was
whatever.
that
Like
what? No, no, no. He was wearing like a. I'd have to look it up again, but he was wearing like some cartoon character like fuzzy hat in one of the pictures. And I was like, what the fuck? You guys ran this without even like checking? All you like there's so many tools. They could have just done like a Google reverse image search and they find 5 seconds. Oh, that's Hideo Kojima,
okay,
not a fucking assassin.
look, Greece is going through a recession right now. They can't afford to do this. Like they don't know anything. Like, look, when we did our dual citizenship, they couldn't even spell our names correctly. So,
Oh.
I mean, come on. I mean, though we
Even
did.
I spelled your name. Did I spell your name correctly? I sent you the package with Ico, right?
Oh, I didn't look at the. I think you did. I want to say you did, but I didn't. I didn't really look
Okay.
at the package. I was like, oh, well, it came here, so I opened it.
I'm proud because there's too many fucking vowels in your fucking name.
But well, though I'll be honest, I did write my name in English, and then they probably just translated 1-to-1 in Greek, so it does make sense why they probably misspelled it. But it's like the name itself is Greek. They could have just figured it. They could have figured it out. It's like, well, this is a Greek name. Okay, we'll just spell it how it should be in Greek. But it's like, no, we'll just spell it with Greek letter. I don't know. It was a weird thing when I looked at it. I was like, wow, this is. Because my mom looked at it, she's like, Theo, your name is fucking goofy on this. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have like your original last name, or did you did your family come here and Americanize your name, or did you keep the same
Well,
name?
I think it kept the same name because I was born here, so like whatever name I got is the name I got. My dad came from Baltimore, so he was born here as well, like in America. So the name is the name. Like my mom when she immigrated here, she could have kept her name because her last name is a very easy name. It's like, oh, okay, like it's not some crazy thing that I've seen, but
It's Just Gamer John saying Theo Greekus the vowels. What does that mean?
so I named my every time I play Persona, like the first time I played Persona 3, I was thinking of like what name to have because it had first name, last name. I'm like, okay, first name's Cleo, but what's gonna be the last name? I don't want to use my real name. And someone Arizona Made Gamer said Greekus. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've been using that since, and that's kind of where that came from.
Oh, Theo Greekus.
Yeah, Theo Papadopoulos. That's close to Stamatopoulos, which he made Moral Oral, greatest show of all time.
Good show.
Yeah, and now he's not making anything, but he does music now.
Really?
Yeah, it's
What kind of music
actually
does he make?
the music's actually really good. The band is called Sorry About Everything. I love the music. It actually has like a lot of the bands that worked on Moral Oral. Like it has Io Perry, who does the song Saturday that played in one of the Moral Oral songs. But it has the song that was actually a song from the show, Close Face. So they did a whole new version of that in one of their albums. So it's actually really good. I really like a lot of it. It has like the voice actors of Blaberta as a singer as well. So it's a really good album. I really love their discography. They have only
Is
two
it
albums though.
is it like comedy music or is it like real, just like regular music?
It's kind of it is kind of comedy. It's like dark comedy music because there's a song that says like that he loves guys and he's like I didn't know if I loved guys. Dad, sit down. Whatever, like it's kind of like a goofy song like that. There's a song like that. So there's all kinds of stuff. It's a good tracks. I'll also link that as well.
Yeah, we'll check that out. So Death's Door, right? So we're about to be at the end. Did you take note of your completion percentage?
I
Like
think I'm like at 8, between 60 to 80%.
60 and 80?
I think in game it's 6. I'll have to look again because
60 and 80 is a big fucking range, man.
I don't know because what's weird, I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5, and the PlayStation 5 has this thing now where if you look, it gives you a summary of the game, and it gives you like a percentage. But I think that percentage is telling me it's 80%, which it might be 80% of the trophies, maybe. So it might be measuring that. So the
What was
game
Death Door
completion,
telling you?
yeah. So I think that's 60%. Last I checked.
Okay, I'm at like 78%, and I haven't really even been. I've been sleepwalking through this game, dude. Like, I play it, and I'm just like wandering around. But I've been picking up like a lot of the shiny objects, I guess. And like, I found a few secrets. Like, I don't know if you found like there's a secret little boss you can fight, and it makes it so your bombs only hurt you.
Okay, it's
I
so
mean, only hurt your enemies and not you.
so
And I just like stumbled upon it.
when I played this the first time, I knew of those bosses, which I liked. I think those were. I kind of wish those were easier to find, or not easier to find, but I think they should have been like mini bosses in dungeons instead of like being relegated as like secret bosses. Though I understand why they're secret bosses on a
Yeah.
gameplay level. Like, yeah, they're giving you like a bonus power up, which I understand that. But I like that. I like those fights a lot. That's like I wish there were more fights like that. So I fought one on my first playthrough. This playthrough I forgot how to get to one, so it's like I'll do it later. This was stuff
Yeah.
I usually do like right after I beat the game, and they let you just roam around. Uh, and I guess that's the other thing that ties into our initial complaint about the story. The addition to Titan Souls that also seems kind of like tacked on, like a nod to fans, but I don't know, like I still don't understand the significance between the two. I guess I either have to play Titan Souls to see if there's a bigger connection or not. But so there's that. The secrets, I kind of just I lost, like after I played the Xbox on Xbox, I was like, yeah, fuck these secrets. I don't want to deal with them anymore. Like I like the ideas of finding them, but it's just they're so like when you step back and look at like what you have to collect and where the secrets are, it's like fuck that. It's like all the artifacts are so like hidden too well for me. It's like I don't care. Like this is way too much.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like, it seems pretty like I've been saying. Like, I keep stumbling upon them, and the way I've been stumbling upon things is like, oh, this will probably be where I get some progress, and it's just not. Like, I found that boss because I was trying to find out. I don't remember exactly where the Gray Crow was, so I was wandering around like the cemetery area, and just found that, and it was just like, okay, like I don't think things are hidden that well. It's just like you have to just like cover every piece of ground, basically.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like what, but it's honestly, I think to the point where I was on my first file, I got so much stuff from the game that like all that was left was like very small things, like because I got all the upgrades in that file, I got all the health upgrades, the magic upgrades, so that stuff was covered. It was just literally the artifacts, the seeds, the pots. And that was just like I lost track how many seeds I got in one area, what areas I should look for. It's really just like once I started to like look at that, it's like I don't want to bother with this because I kept circling around the same area over and over, and at that point it's like if I keep circling around, I don't want to fucking bother because it's like it becomes like I'm just a dog chasing its tail at that point.
Yeah, I agree. It's like there's no way to really know. Like I imagine once you get to like the last shiny object or the last shrine you have to find, it'll just be super frustrating because it's like I don't know what I already got. So you'll just be like wandering around the same areas. Although, like I've said before, it's like once you open up, like once you press all the levers and stuff, it's really easy to get around.
Yeah.
So,
but it's just it's honestly just I think it's honestly just the healing pots, because in my fall I got in a lot of the shiny objects, and I think I was like maybe shy of like a few, but it's just really like I had to go to each area, find a seed, find a pot, and it's like, what part of the map did I not see a pot,
right,
or whatever,
right.
and that is what's hard to keep track of, like because the shiny objects you kind of infer where they might be, but the pots, like you don't really have any clue like how many seeds did you get? The only thing you get is like a pink shine on a door, and that tells you like what areas you've done or whatever. But it's like that.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's all right. I think my love for this game did diminish a little bit more. Like I wouldn't say it's a bad. I don't agree with that it's a bad game, but I don't think it's like a fantastic game. I think it's a fun game. I would recommend it regardless because I think it's not that much. I think you could probably get it like for $10 on sales on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's a decent price. Like if this was a $30 game, I'd be like, no, don't waste your
Yeah.
money on that. But I think it's a solid experience,
Yeah.
all considered.
I don't think it's a bad game either. But I'm kind of a little. I don't recommend it, but I'd say give it a try. Like if you're into these types of games, try it. You might like it, but like I wouldn't be like, yo, you got to try Death's Door. I'd be like, yeah, I played it. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think the last boss is gonna change our opinion on that. So
Well,
what's
I
up?
really like the final boss.
Yeah,
Because
but it's not gonna be like the game was like
Oh,
amazing
okay.
now to build up to that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no, okay,
So,
yeah, that
so
makes sense.
to that point, I'm gonna finish the game because literally I have to walk through the door and beat him. But what should we play next time?
Oh
Because we're not gonna
man,
have enough time. We're not gonna have enough. We're not gonna have enough to talk about if we don't
yeah,
pick another game. I don't think.
yeah. So let's think about it. I mean, we could always go. We could do the other play we had where I was gonna play God Hand and you were gonna play something else.
Okay, we
We
could
could do that.
Do you have God Hand?
I could get it. Uh, so
Okay.
it's funny. So I booted up my PS3 recently. I updated it, and the way that Sony has done, I don't understand why Sony made the PlayStation 3 such a pain in the ass to log into, because I logged in. I'm like, all right, here's my password. Here's my account. I was like, actually, you need to use this QR code. Get your phone, scan the QR code, get a password from us, then log in. It's like, why the fuck am I having to do all these steps to log into my PS3? Like, just
Well, isn't that because they don't want people to fucking use it, right?
I guess, but it's like, but why? Like, you're not adding games to the PS3 library as it is. Like, it's just it's just dumb. But
Yeah.
I'll stomach it. The only thing I also don't like is I think they removed the option to pay with credit cards. So you have to get like their prepaid
Right.
cards, which is like
Right.
I kind of understand what they said it was for security reasons because people were just hacking PS3 accounts or whatever. It's like I guess, but it's like but you're a $1 billion company. You could figure something else out.
Yeah. So Just Gamer John says, how often do people call you Dark Side Theo?
I have a whole video series of that persona. So it's probably gonna stick with me because I honestly don't understand how I'm able to. So this whole bit started as like a one-off thing in a video, and after that, it's like I got really good at impersonating DSP, and I don't know how I got that good. Like it was to the point where like
Because
it's
you've destroyed your brain with hours and hours of Dark Side Phil content.
I guess, but it's like I've done so many things that I'm more passionate about. And I can't like copy that, but DSP I nailed. Like I could literally do. The only time I will say the one thing I can't do, he has found a way to talk for like an hour about nonsense, and I can't do it. No matter how hard I try, I can only get to 30 minutes before I like run out of ideas. It's like I don't know how he does it.
I think that's what we do every 2 weeks here.
Yeah,
is
but at
talk
least
about
it's
nothing.
but at least it's like two friends talking. At least it's something. It's more than just one
Okay.
guy talking to the ether about like how he woke up today.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, but the whole reason I said that is because he said Barbie games, which is topical technically, but I actually kind of like the idea of like taking a break because like we've been playing games that are like, okay, maybe we'll have fun with this. I'm kind of down to play just something that's a complete piece of shit and know that we're just gonna trash it because like I'm I want to play something I know is going to be amazing. Like I feel like the past few times we've played games, and like a lot of the games we've played, it's like just lukewarm. It's like we're not really that excited to talk about it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I feel about this game the same way I feel about Bloodstained. Like it's like starts off pretty good, it's competent, and then like by the end of it, it's just kind of like, well, it was all right.
Yeah, and then you
You know what I mean?
compare
I feel like
that,
that's how most games have been.
and then you compare that with Devil May Cry 2, where it's like
Oh,
it was exciting to talk about. It's like, holy shit, like what the fuck, like.
yeah. So
I,
I want to play.
I still think about that too, because it's like every time I talk to someone else about it, it's like, dude, like I would have dropped this game so fast after that one fucking fight where you're like in the air and you're just like orbiting a giant head. It's like, and I was like
Yeah.
telling someone else about it, it's like who played it. I'm like, and he was saying like, no, that game is whatever. It's like, dude, there's tanks and helicopters, and it's like, no, that can be bosses. Yeah, that's like the whole boss. It's like,
Yeah.
no way. And actually, since I'm talking about Devil May Cry 2, I got this art book of Devil May Cry 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through the Devil May Cry 2 section. I finally got to that part of the book. And that whole section is trash. The art is underwhelming. Like it was just really rough. It's like, man, this game probably had the most depressing development I've seen. Like all these other games have like all these rough concepts, all this like passionate stuff in it. You get the two, it's like, oh right, here's the game model of Dante and Lucia. Okay. The draft section was like one page of something interesting, and then it was like you saw the final boss and he just looked like a fucking rectangle. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
So I guess we don't have to decide now. I guess since we have 2 weeks. Maybe can you do polls on Discord? Maybe we poll the Discord.
I could link a poll. I could do that. I could do a poll on YouTube, on Twitter. I could also do a poll on I think there's a website called Straw Poll that also does polls as well. So there's all these other options.
I would be excited to play a complete piece of shit and just talk about it if we want, or I mean, or you can come up with a game like you said. I'll play God, you'll play God Hand, and I can play something you recommend, and we can kind of exchange on that. I'm down with either idea, but I don't have anything specific I want to play. There is one game that I forgot what it's called. Donkey did a video on it, and it looked really fun. It was like something with cards and shit.
Thank you for reminding me. That was the other game I played. I did play Neon White.
Oh, you played it?
Charles, every review I have heard of this game, I have the same fucking review. Gameplay is great. Love the speedruns. The dialogue is fucking awful. Like,
fair enough.
Which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. But it's like in between like the speedrunning missions, you go to a hub world and you talk to all these other characters, and it's pretty much Persona level dialogue where it's like, oh my god, you're so hot. Oh my god, I love you, man. It's like, okay, cool, like whatever.
But I almost, based on what I saw, it feels like it's worse than Persona levels of dialogue.
It is. But it is developed. It's a game that was developed by college students. Like these people just got out of college, and this was their first game. So on that level, I kind of love it that they were able to get Steve Blum and were able to get all of this promotion for a game, and it's their first game out of college. On top of that, so that's kind of cool.
Steve Blum is in it. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he plays the main character. The other thing about it is oh my god, what was I gonna say? Fuck. Damn,
about a game.
I was gonna talk about Neon White. The gameplay is fun. The card system is. Oh, I felt I was lied to in the promotion though. I sat there playing like every promotion. I thought, okay, you're gonna be fighting these other characters. And I thought it was like a boss rush deal. I play the game. It's like, oh no, it's actually speedrunning. It's like it's fun. I like it, but it's like I thought you'd be fighting these other characters, and it's like you don't. And it's like, why did all the marketing lead me to believe this? Like, I feel like I was gaslighted to believe something that didn't happen.
Well, I don't know. I know nothing about it. It looks like a lot of fun, and I don't give a fuck about story.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
don't give a
story is
shit. I'll
whatever.
just
I don't care
follow
about
cutscene.
the story in Neon
Yeah.
White's like very like you could sleep through it. It's just I was expecting like boss fights, and it's like, oh, no boss fights. Let's do speed runs. It's like, okay, that's fine, but it's like I could have sworn there was gonna be something more.
You did, you know what looked similar to me? Also, real quick, Just Gamer John says, if you want to talk a piece of shit, I'm right here. Just Gamer John, you're a gem. Don't say that about yourself. We love you. Um, but what the fuck was I gonna say? Oh, it looked very similar to Ghost Runner to me,
Oh yeah.
but like a different twist on it, and it looked like more fun than Ghost Runner.
Yeah. No,
Is that true or no?
I definitely agree with that because there's more because I think with Ghost Runner, from what I remember, it was very vertical with the stage design, and this one it does a little bit more with the stage design and like the. And I agree that the enemies are a piece of shit enemies that just stand still and take it, but that's not really the focus. It's really just getting better times, going fast, and all this stuff. Like there's a, like it kind of it's why I love Death Stranding, which is like a goofy thing to say, but with Death Stranding, I love the idea of doing delivers and trying to find ways to cheat the game to get to where I need to go and see how far I could push the game. And that's kind of what Neon White focuses on as well. Like, yeah, I do this, but you might not necessarily need to do it the same way we told you to, and it utilizes everything. So there's not one thing the game teaches you, and you never have to think about it. It's like, no, it's there. You can always use it. It's really up to you if you want to use it, which is it's nice. It kind of goes against what you said about Death's Door, where it's like it introduces a rule, and then it just kind of is whatever with the rules. Like, well, never mind. This is at least like introduces rules, and you can listen to them, and it makes sense.
You figure out how to employ them. Like you can always expect the game to behave a certain way, which is exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
And the music is so good. The music is like
really,
yeah. Like I got the soundtrack on Apple Music, and it's like this music is so like upbeat and relaxing at the same time. I think the musician's like Machine Gun Girl or Machine Girl, something like that. But it's a really solid game.
So yeah, so this is a recommend from you, huh?
Yeah, I love it. I've been loving it. I was like really hyped for it, and even without the boss rush stuff, even that like was a slight letdown. The game like I wanted to hate the game once I realized that it wasn't boss rush because I'm not a speedrunner guy. I was like, oh, it's this. Oh, this game sucks. It made me love it. And I said about every single thing I played. If I have an expectation or if I feel disappointed about something, but it earned my trust to love it, it's like, yeah, it's a great game. Because it's like, if anything makes me go like come around, it's worth something. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Unless it's make me come around to hate it, then that's different. But this game made me like I went from like, oh, disappointed. Oh, this game with fucking rules. Like, I just really, really love the emotion. And on the Switch, it's the only Switch game that's 60 frames.
Yeah, the only ones. Your other games are not 60 frames.
I'm sure there's other games that's like that get close to 60, but on the Switch, it's like it's the only third-party game that's like it runs at a solid 60.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely gonna buy that then. But I guess since you already played it, it's not necessarily a Game Club game.
I mean, I didn't get far into it either, but but we can also do we can do Final Fantasy Zodiac Age.
Zodiac Age?
As well, yeah.
Done. I've been wanting to play that for about like 12 years, so I'd be down to play that too.
All right. Well, okay. So maybe what we should do, I'm gonna make a poll on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, saying like what games, and we'll see how that, and we'll look at the results on the next episode. And if it's not pleasing results, we'll make a decision ourselves. We'll make a consecutive decision. Well, yeah, but I'm saying like if 0 people voted, or if 1 person voted, like come on.
Which means we're playing Barbie games because Just Gamer John wants us to play shovelware.
Well, it has to be available for me. That's the only stipulation. I have to be able to play it on something. If I can't play it, there's no point.
Are there? I'm trying to think. I'm looking this up right now. I'm seeing what like recent Barbie games there are. Like, I know there's a bunch. Like, it seems like most Barbie games are like on DS or something though, or like a handheld. Like, there's not
I
like
well, I do have a
console games.
3DS, so that it's not so that wouldn't be out of the question.
I'm looking up what the most recent game is. Actually, it doesn't seem like there are a lot. There's Secret Agent Barbie. That came out in 2002 though.
There is a next gen
Yeah,
Barbie.
well,
Barbie Puppy Rescue.
Barbie Puppy Rescue. What's that for?
Let's look it up.
Oh, and you know what I'm sad I missed last time
What?
is the raid. The raid is my favorite part.
Ah. Okay, it's on 360, PS3,
I'm down to play Barbie
and
Puppy
Wii
Rescue.
U. Yeah, so I could play this definitely. You know what? Fuck it. We'll do
Dude,
that.
done. Wait, I'm seeing Barbie and her sister's Puppy Rescue. Is that the same game?
Oh shit. I think so. I think it. Yeah. Barbie and her sister Puppy Rescue. It's on the PS3, 360, all that.
Dude, it's $40 fucking dollars. Can I get a cheap version of this?
Wait, it's 40 bucks. Oh my god.
Paying $40 for this bullshit.
Oh, so I got a story. It's not
Okay.
gamer related, but this is something I want people to know. I forgot to say it the last episode. I'll say it, so I'm gonna say it this time around. So I went to the gym a few weeks ago. I opened my car door. So I opened it, and I guess I opened it a little bit too hard, or the wind carried the door, or whatever. And the car door tapped the car next to me. And I close my door, I get out, I look at it, and it doesn't look like there's anything on it. The door looked fine. The door looked fine to me. I looked at it, nothing, didn't think much of it. The driver was in the car. To just, put that clear. The driver was in the car. I walk away. The guy did not stop me at all. I was able to go into the gym, and I get out, and I see a note on my car. And this is what the note said. This note, I saved this note because I just want to keep reading it. You slammed your door into my passenger side door. It chipped my door's paint, leaving a blue mark and dent. Better call me and straighten this out like a man instead of walking away. I have your info from your license plate. And they gave me his phone number. And I'm reading this, I'm like this, the door didn't look that damaged to begin with. And it's like, I didn't slam the door. I know I didn't. If I slammed the door, I'd know I would slam it. I didn't. The dude was full of it then. Whatever. But I was like, okay, fine. You know what? I'll do the right thing. I called the number. This dude then tells me, I'm like, hello? I'm the guy who drove the blue car. Sorry I tipped your car. Do you want me to exchange my information with you? He's like, no, you don't worry about it. I'm not gonna do anything. But don't you think it's funny? Don't you think it's a little funny that how this was handled? I'm like, well, I'm sorry it happened. Yeah, like you hit my car and then you just walked inside. I'm like, well, I was like, I'm sorry. I was late for a class. I had to go. Whatever. It's like, yeah, like. Look, I appreciate you called me. I appreciate you called the number. You called the number. I appreciate that. I have kids your age, and I understand. Like, I just want them to know that if you like stand up for yourself, that you can that there's nice people out there. I just want my kids to know that. I mean, I have kids your age. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything. Like, oh, okay.
Did you tell him you're 30?
No, I'm not. The second someone thinks
you're 17, Theo.
Yeah, I after I called him, I was like, thank God this guy thinks I'm like fucking 18. I was like, because this dude was like, the second I heard I have kids your age. I'm like, okay, this guy just wanted a lecture, sweet. And I just sat there. I was like, I didn't want to correct him because it's like, at this point, if you volunteer to assume I'm a kid, I'm just gonna go with it. Like, you
Yeah,
volunteered that, you assumed that, that's what you get. So I was like, okay,
sure.
whatever. But then he tells me, so yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'll see you around when you go work out. It's like, oh, okay. And after that, I was
Fuck
like,
that.
I'll be sure to not see this guy. If I see him around, I'm just gonna hop back in my car. But that
I don't
dude,
get it. Did he like see? Did you look at each other?
I saw him in the car. I didn't make eye contact. I just saw he was there. But I looked at the car door, and it was just like there was nothing on that door. And I'm sure this dude probably like
Maybe open the door, chipped his paint on purpose.
I don't even think it was that. I think he probably just heard the tap, and it was just like, this fucking guy hit my car. No, I'm gonna make a point. I'm gonna leave a note. He's gonna call me, and then I'm gonna talk to him. He probably was like excited to like talk to someone. Probably like he probably just wanted. It's the same story. This guy probably wanted like he was in the right. He was like, oh, I have the power. This guy is gonna fear me. Oh, hell yeah, he's gonna have to call me, and his fate's in my hand. He probably got up to that shit. It's like this. It's like you see security guards in the mall. It's like these guys don't have real power, but they get off to it. Probably. It's like, oh, don't run in the fucking mall. Okay, just go
Yeah,
over there. It's like that kind of shit.
yeah. It sounds like he was excited to give you a lecture, to
Yeah.
give you a lesson.
And I'm sure at the same time it was either that or he was like he talked to his insurance and like, yeah, this is like bullshit. And it's like, okay, like he probably knew he wasn't gonna. He probably didn't get an answer he was looking for, so he's like, I'm not gonna get anything out of this, and just walked away. But he's like, what are you really gonna do about that? But it's like it was a nothing thing. But the thing that I was mostly annoyed with was just the tone of that note. It's like my first instinct was just to ignore it. Like I'm not gonna fucking call this guy. Like what's it gonna do? But it's
Yeah,
like I didn't want to attempt it, so they'll just call him, see what happens, to do the right thing. But it's like just fucking say, hey, you slammed your car door in my door. Can you like call me and whatever. You didn't need to tell me to straighten it like a man. Like at that point, I was like I was trying so hard not to be an asshole to him on the phone. It's like I just want to get off the phone immediately. It's like I just want to just get this over with and not think about it. But it was such a funny encounter at
you
that
better
point.
hope this fucker isn't watching this stream right now. If he is, Theo, he's a real asshole. He should fix your car.
Hey,
Your kids is a
I
bad
offered.
example.
I offered. I offered to give him my insurance information. So it wasn't like I didn't do it. I
No,
offered.
I know.
I even wrote it down on the note. I wrote down like he called this time. I offered. He said no. I have a whole record of it. So if he says anything else, I have fucking proof.
I can't wait till this Big Bun Game Club has to play in court. They play the whole entirety of it. So the whole courtroom has to hear about fucking us complaining about Death's Door. Hey, Death's Door. That's what it's gonna be when this guy kills you. That's gonna be the name of the case when they have it on true crime documentary.
That's gonna be the
Death's
sequel.
Door. Yeah.
That's gonna be the sequel to the game, Death's Door 2, and it was like the Grim Reaper's driving his car and he has to deal with this shit. It's like, oh, this guy who thinks he's a lord of a door and he hits my car.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy. You think
Yeah,
he's
you
hot
stuck with the
shit?
Lord of Doors, yo. What is wrong with you?
I do like that there was one lord called Lord Theodore, so
Oh, yeah?
represent.
There you
And he
go.
was the best lord. Everyone loved him, so it's great.
You are the Lord of Doors. There you go. You have the right to smash whatever doors you want.
I did take a picture of that, so I'm gonna put that as a thumbnail. That'll be the only this will be the only podcast that's a different thumbnail to the others.
Of the note?
No, not the note of the Lord the Lord of
Oh,
Lord
Lord
Theodore.
Theodore.
Like I take a picture of of
Yeah.
one thing they said. I'm gonna put that as the thumbnail. I'm not gonna put the other one because that one has like his phone number. I'm not gonna put his phone number out there. That'd be I'm not
No,
that
I know.
much like.
That guy will fucking whoop your ass.
Oh man.
So yeah, yeah, I guess we should take some time. We should set a deadline for when we decide what to play. But
It'll be the next game club.
should we play something because like we're just gonna all we have left is the last boss, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
Okay, you know
2
what?
weeks we're not gonna have anything to talk about.
We will give it a week until
Okay.
Sunday.
Decide by Sunday. Okay. I'm down to play this fucking stupid ass Barbie game. Um, it's on Wii. It's on PS3. It's also on PC apparently. So I'll play it. I'll play any garbage you want. Just Gamer John. Just Gamer John. Do you play all these games? Is Just Gamer John like a YouTuber or a streamer?
No, I think. Well, now I might be wrong if I say he doesn't, because last time I guess some guy didn't stream, he did stream, and that I looked like a fool. But there's one person I know, Just Gamer John, from that he did play. This one guy played Barbie Puppy Adventure or whatever the fuck, and that was kind of a goofy game as well. But I don't know. I don't know if it's from that or not.
Maybe he's just a masochist because he's like play kids hockey, Calvin Tucker's Redneck Jamboree, Kids Cruella Adventure, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Well, how do you know all this shit, Just Gamer John? Talk about it.
You know what? We should get him on the next podcast. He should be our. You know what? Since Retro dropped the ball, he'll replace Retro. Just Gamer John will come in next. He doesn't stream. Well, this could be your first time. This could be your first stream you'll do. Just Gamer John, just come on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you know what? That would be great. If we play some shovelware garbage, Just Gamer John seems to be an expert, so we have him on as the shovelware expert.
Yeah, and you don't need a camera. You can come in audio only if you don't want like your face docs. You can get your voice docs if you're comfortable with that. I mean, I don't want to put any pressure on you, Just Gamer John.
Have him have a voice changer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of into the idea of playing some piece of shit. But also, I think I remembered, weren't we gonna do you play God Hand, I play Travis Strikes Again, right?
Oh yeah, I think it was that. We'll have to find that old list we had where we worked on all these ideas for games.
Where did we save that?
We put that in Discord. I think it's in our Discord conversation.
All right, we'll figure it out. But Just Gamer John, just let us know if you want to do it that way. I would love to do that actually. We'll play some pieces of shit. Just Gamer John will bring his expertise in.
It'd be a four-way podcast.
And who knows? Maybe we'll fucking like this shitty Barbie game. Maybe it'll be great. And it's topical. When's the Barbie movie come out?
Yeah, we should watch the Barbie movie for Game Club. I'll come down to your place, or you come up to my place, and we'll go to the movie theater that way.
We gotta watch. We also gotta watch. Oh, Barbie's not coming out till next year.
Well, we could plan by then.
Done. But yeah, I'm down to do whatever, but I don't have any specific ideas yet.
Alright, so we'll think about that by Sunday. I'll put a poll somewhere. I'll also put a Discord post where the poll will be. So guys, please vote in that poll wherever it may be. Maybe I'll do a Patreon special poll too. Maybe, I don't know.
It's gonna be nothing but trolling though. Like whatever they pick is gonna just be the biggest garbage we can imagine.
Well, if they're troll votes, we could dismiss it and say, well, the trolls came and voted, so we'll do the real thing. That's what DSP does all the time. He says the trolls voted for this, so we'll do this instead.
We don't want to be like
the vote. But we don't have to. I mean, it's all good. We'll play whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure it. So let's before we close out, what's final thoughts on Death's Door? Well, final thoughts up to the point where we're at.
I think when I started playing this for Game Club specifically, I was like, I fell in love with the combat again. I was like, oh hell yeah, I got a whole new appreciation for it. But the more I played it, the more I started to feel exactly how you felt, where I started to see the script of attacks, and it kind of betrays gaming in a sense, because games, you always learn a pattern when you play any game. Like, okay, Bowser's gonna do this, so you do that in response or whatever. There's always a pattern you have to learn, but they always try to mix up the pattern at some point. They either speed up the pattern, they add a new move or whatever. They do something to mix it up, and Cuphead doesn't really do that. Not Cuphead. Death's Door tries to do that, but it doesn't really do it. It doesn't go far enough with the idea. Like with Betty, it has that snowball attack, but that's not good enough. Then it has like falling rocks, and that is also not good enough either. So it's like it tries it, but it's like it seems like these are blueprints of phases that they didn't really go back and touch. So it betrays that in respect to gaming. So it does feel very like bare bones, and I think it's a product of like this is their first game that they went from a 2D plane with Titan Souls to a 3D kind of gameplay. So it could be that transition that they're just learning. So I am curious as to what their next game will be, because they don't seem to be the type of developer to stick to one thing all the time, but they do seem to learn and push themselves to do bigger and better things. So if this was them trying something new after Titan Souls, I'm curious to see where they're gonna go after this. So it's interesting. It's a solid game. I would recommend it, but only if it's on sale or if you're willing to just burn $20. But if it's like more than that, no. But it's solid. It's not as good as I remembered, but it's still kind of interesting, especially with the story. But the pacing's off.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things you said. And to add to what you said about like the gameplay aspect, it's like there's not any like randomization. It's like it's a script. It's like these are the things it does, and now you can attack. So I think a little bit of randomization to the patterns would have made it a little bit more interesting. I wonder if there was some reason they didn't do that. It feels like they might have ran out of time to like balance it or whatever. But I will say visually, it's amazing. Atmospherically, it's really great. I'm not a big fan of the music, but it definitely fits with the world and the gameplay. And if you're into that, I'm sure it would make the game bump the game up a couple points for you. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I'm not gonna say don't play it. Like I would never be like, oh, don't play that game. I'd be like, yeah, it's a solid game. Like, give it a try.
It's funny with the music. You just reminded me about the soundtrack. I like a lot of the tracks, but there are some tracks that are just like, because I when I got the soundtrack, I found myself just skipping songs. Like I like the furnace song. I like some of the boss fight music. The Great Crow boss fight is really good. They do a good remix of the Death's Door's like main theme and the final boss, and that one I really like. But it's like the overworld theme I don't really care about. It's like okay, like dun, dun, like they all sound the same almost with every area. Yeah. So I get that too. Like I wouldn't say, I think I had a better memory of like when I thought about the music. I thought it was way better than what it is. But it's no Hotline Miami, obviously, but it's still a solid soundtrack for what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I get it.
You know what's really funny that you bring up Hotline Miami, because it's like Hotline Miami is not nearly as beautiful as this game, but it has a distinctive style, and the gameplay I think is way, way superior. But I don't think, and this is maybe my fault because I don't value it as much, but we didn't really stress how beautiful the game is. Beautiful, and like the lighting effects are unreal. Like it's really good looking game.
It all looks like it's like clay. It all looks like it's like it all looks like they're all like models. Like they're all like toys or like clay statues, like stop motion kind of stuff. And I do agree we didn't highlight that enough because the visuals are very creative for what it does. Like it and I do love, and I think that's what carried it for me a lot, is just the visuals of that game. Like it seems really lame to be like, oh, the graphics are very pretty, and or that like that's like kind of the sucker punch that a lot of games like try to give you. And I've gotten over that with other games, but this game is just the style is so like it reminds me of this other Dino Stamatopoulos show he did, where it was it's called Frankenhole, Mary Shelley's Frankenhole.
Yes, yeah.
And I love that style, like that paper, those paper dolls and all that stuff. It's really creative, and this does a lot of cool stuff with the creativity with the birds and all that stuff. And that's what I loved about the art book, and I was excited to get that as well. When I was reading, it's like, yeah, we want to make sure that everything is practical for like the bird, like everything that it looks like it fits in. It doesn't look goofy for the bird to handle. and like it all makes sense. Like this aesthetically, how the bird handles the sword, how it walks around, all of that. So I do love like everything visually about this game.
Yeah, yeah, it looks amazing. But for me, it's like my priority is gameplay, and like Hotline Miami is, I think a lot of people would say it's like kind of ugly, right? But I
I
absolutely love it. The gameplay is amazing. Like
I
it
kind
has
of
a
disagree
style.
with it being
Okay,
ugly. I think the you could argue the character portraits are ugly, but I think the game is actually like nice. I do like the that pixel look of it. I do kind of like. I think it's like charming in its own way.
right. But it's not like visually striking. Like if you showed
Okay.
someone a screenshot of it, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this 1992 bullshit?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Whereas you look at this and it's immediately like, whoa, like this is amazing. Like Hotline Miami, you have to like understand the design language first to appreciate it. Like you can't just show like if you show someone that doesn't play video games, Hotline Miami, Death's Door, they're gonna be like, Death's Door is much prettier, like
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, beautiful game. We'll beat it next week, and then we'll play some piece of shit like Barbie's Friends and whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, it'll be like that joke in South Park where Butters wanted to play Hello Kitty at Island Adventure. Barbie will be
I don't
that for
remember that
us,
one.
huh?
What episode was that? Is that new?
It was the Warcraft episode where they were playing
Oh,
World of Warcraft and Butters kept playing Hello Kitty Adventure or whatever.
I don't remember that, but I might have to watch that episode again because that was a funny one.
All right, so I think we're ready for a raid.
Let's raid. Should we see if anyone's playing Death's Door? They're probably not, huh?
I saw some people playing it last stream.
Is that what you rated last time?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a few people. We have a person with 83 viewers. There's when do you plan on getting back to Persona for Golden? I'll get back to it when I get back to it. I don't know yet. Probably tomorrow, maybe. This guy has 2 views. We'll give him a happy day. Our last plays. This could be his last play, guys. His very last one. So we'll give him like 2 people. All right. Thank you for watching Big Bun Game Club. It was fun. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.